are live. Do me a favor. Take a minute and invite some people to be a part of the show. I am super excited for tonight's show. I am your host. For those who don't know, I am Coach Cynthia L. Robinson. Yes, I am super excited to be here tonight. This is the Plans of the Righteous, the Real Talk Show. We meet here every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You want to be here in the house. This month, we have been saluting and celebrating our women of history. They are paving the way, and you don't want to miss tonight because, honey, we got a trailblazer here tonight with us. We have somebody that is trailblazing not only on the field, but she's trailblazing off the field. And I am super excited to have this conversation with her. She has been an amazing, amazing young lady, amazing friend. We have connected. I'm telling you, this is going to be, listen, I don't use this term very often, lit. This is going to be lit tonight. So subscribe to the channel. You want to make sure you get here and be in the house. Make sure you are active and being engaged, because you want to ask her these questions, because this here is the person that you want to ask these questions for, because she got all the answers, okay? Terri, come on now. Come on from behind the stage.
Yes. What's up? Hello.
We are ready. We are ready. So listen, Terri. Let's get it. I'm hyped. I am super, super hyped. And I'm telling you, I've been looking forward to this show. I've been waiting. I've been like, hey, since we had this conversation.
It's been over a month.
It's been over a month. And I've been wanting to call you, say, hey, listen, we got to finish this conversation, but we're going to finish it tonight. Okay. So do me a favor and take a minute and introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Terri Bryant. I live in Lexington, Kentucky. I am an Army brat. That's how I got to Kentucky. I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. I am married to Cisco Bryant. He is a former SEC football player. He's also a coach. I have a daughter that's 28. She has her master's degree. She works at the University of Illinois, Chicago, lives in Chicago. I have a son named Ty. He is 17. He is presently committed to the University of Kentucky to play football. He's also a baseball player. I am a football coach, one of the only female football coaches in the state of Kentucky that's actively participating on an actual school sport, right? So there might be some that might be coaching Little League or something like that, but I actually coach on a school team with my husband. He is the head coach, and we're getting ready to go into our fourth season. I enjoyed tremendously. Our first two seasons, we went to the championship game with brand new teams, which is unheard of. Last year, we should have made it to the championship game, but we got a penalty call back on us that called back our touchdown that had us ahead. So that ended up cutting our season short last year, but we're looking forward to this season. We can't wait until it gets started. And so that's it. I'm also a health and wellness coach. So I love helping people with their lifestyle changes, making lifestyle changes, eating healthy. I truly believe that in order for you to love your neighbor like you love yourself, that you got to love yourself enough to take care of yourself.
Amen.
And that's it. You can ask some more questions later on, but that's the gist of it.
Okay, listen, we're going to go ahead and jump in, because look, you done dropped so much. You done dropped so much. But I want to go right into this main thing, because I just applaud you for you being that football coach. Okay, let's start here. What was the driving force that made you even want to go into being a football coach?
First of all, I'm a huge football fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. So, of course, you got to have some heart to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, because they've been letting us down every year for the last 20 years, right? My husband is a football coach. My son plays football. So it's kind of hard not to enjoy the game because I have to be around. I have to be around it. I don't have a choice because my husband coaches, and I'm going to be at my son's game to watch him play. But even with outside of them, I still love to watch football on Saturdays all day, Sundays all day. For some reason, I learned to love the game, I guess, just a long time ago. And it might have been the fact that because I wasn't, as a woman, you're not allowed to play. And so I think it's kind of that rebelliousness in me that was like, I can do that, or I just wanted to learn it, right? But it ended up being more of a blessing because when my husband was asked to take over the middle school team, what happened was he stepped down from high school because when my son was in high school, he wanted to be able to watch him play. He didn't want to coach as he was playing because he wanted to be able to just focus on him and watch him play. So he took a year off, and then he got the offer for the middles to drop down to middle school. Well, middle school, we don't, we play on Thursday nights. So high school plays on Friday night. So that there was no conflict with our son. And so he took that, and then he came home and he said, well, I made you my assistant head coach. And I looked at him like, what? I was shocked myself because there are lots. Let me tell you something. My husband is thebomb.com. Not that he's my husband, but he's probably one of the best coaches in our city, right? He's very well known. He has a great reputation. And so for him to ask me over somebody else that probably had a lot more experience was an honor because he has his reputation on the line.
Right. Right.
He needs somebody that's there that knows what they're talking about, that can help him to succeed in this. Coaching is very, very difficult. So on the middle school level, there's only like 3 of us. If you're looking at the high school level, they have coaches for like every position. So you have like an offensive line coach, you have a defensive line coach, you have the quarterback coach, you have the running back coach, you have the defensive back coach, you have the linebackers coach. Whereas us, we have to kind of share that responsibility just among 3 of us because, at middle school, we don't have the budgets to pay for 10 coaches on our staff.
Right.
It's totally different. We don't have a booster club to raise funds for the team, which is, totally different from high school. So it's a totally different ball game for us. So with all that together, and for him to ask me to coach, to fill one of his positions was mind blowing. It was mind blowing.
What did you say,
ma'am?
What did you say when he was like, okay?
My face was just like why would you not get somebody else? And this is what he said. He said, I trust you and you know football.
Very good.
He said you do. He said you know football. He said I wouldn't put you on my staff if I felt like you couldn't do the job.
Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. Come on now.
Right.
So, we as women, okay, I know some about football, but for you to hold that position, you got to know the game. So
you have to know more than just you definitely have to know more than just the basics.
And then not only do you know the game, but you know the game well enough to even succeed and make it to the championship. So what made you, I know your son plays football. I know your husband, played football, but how did you learn the game? By just watching the game?
By just watching the game. Honestly, just watching the game. And then if there's something that I don't know, me and my husband, we've been together for 12 years. So if there's something I don't know, I just ask, why did they do that? Explain. Or our living room and our bedroom is a film game. So for football, you have to watch film. So there's always learning opportunities in our home when it comes to my husband and my son. So if we're watching a game, there'll be times where he'll pull him down and he'll rewind it. He's like, look at this, they're doing this. Make sure you don't do this. This is what you should have did in this situation. And I just, over the years, just sat there and just paid attention and just listened and learned as my son was learning. He basically kind of was teaching us both. Because he would get frustrated with stuff that he do, and I'll be like, well, why are you frustrated? And then he would explain why he's frustrated. Or we'll be watching, of course, can't nobody fool with us on Sunday. Like if the best thing that happened to us during COVID was us being able to be out of church before 1 o'clock, right? I'm not gonna lie. Right? If we had to go to church after 1 o'clock, we really had a problem with that church. So we had found us a church that started at 10:30 and they was done before 1 o'clock. So we was like the bomb for that because we just didn't want to be that. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough for us. People can judge us all they want to for that.
Sundays was football day for you and your house.
But that's real talk because that's us. That's how much we love it, right? We love the Lord. Don't get us wrong, but can we get out of church before 1 o'clock? Because we want to be home by 1.
Because I'm gonna be now, of that first.
And I'm gonna tell you something. That's probably the reason why a lot of women can't get their husband in church.
Y'all, she dropping some gems now. She dropping some gems. So, because church, not all, I thank God that we have a pastor that definitely be like, hey, y'all, sit your team playing today, so we're gonna have to wrap this thing on up.
Right, but if you don't have a pastor that has a team to play, he don't care what time he's getting out.
Yeah, our pastor does.
He's gonna let it move, and he's gonna start hooping, or he's gonna start doing whatever it is, and it's just gonna go on, right? So, and that's what happens. Probably 80% of households where you have a husband that enjoys football, and then you wonder why he has a hard time wanting to go. He's not excited about going because he's like, okay, I want to watch football. I give you Monday through Saturday. Okay, I might not engage, but can I watch football on Sunday? Okay. I'm not asking you to do nothing else, but can I do football on Sunday?
You still got a problem because you really don't have them on Saturday because Saturday is
college football.
See, I do know a little something. I pay a little bit of attention.
So that's just saying, and truth be told, you got Monday night football. You also have Thursday night football, right? So, but I'm just saying But Sundays is the day because that's where most of the teams play. So unless your team is not playing on that day, so if I'm a woman and I'm not into sports and I want my husband to accommodate me to church on Sundays, I want to know who his team is. And I want to know what their schedule is, what days that they play, and on days that his team is not playing, that's when I'm going to invite him to church.
Now, when we talked, you actually, you already pulling it up already. Okay. So Terri, when you and I was talking, you actually shared a fun fact that help relationships. And a lot of relationships are not making it because there's a discrepancy there, meaning the husband liked to watch football and the wife or the significant other or the girlfriend or whatever, she's not into it. So can you drop some gems? I mean, I was gonna wait till later, but you already brought this in. Go ahead and drop some of those little gems that we talked about how a woman can connect with her man through making sure she's connected in alignment with what he wants to do and being able to have that conversation with him, being able to talk to him in the language that he understands.
Okay, so the one incident that I love telling people about was early on in our relationship, we were really struggling with me getting mad about like something small, right? And so he would say, I do all these other things. Why are you getting mad at me about something small? Like this little small thing shouldn't be that big of a deal, but you seem like you're just going all out. You're not talking to me. You're mad. You're not, and why can't you just look at all of the big things instead of just one small thing? And so my comment to him was, well, if we're in a game and we're doing everything right, and it's the fourth quarter, and we got 2 minutes left in the game, we're winning, but we fumbled the ball and they come back and score and win the game. Am I looking at all the things that we did right in the first 3 quarters? Or am I mad about losing the game in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, which was a small part of the full game? And so he looked at me like,
you might be onto something there.
You might be onto something. I guess I can see where you're coming from for that, right? And so we never had that. I mean, that has never ever came up again, because he was able to understand where I'm coming from. You know, we have to play the whole game, right? And so if one part of the game is missing, if somebody misses a coverage on defense, or even if somebody misses a block on offense and it causes our quarterback to get sacked. Like if you watch the Super Bowl game,
yes,
I'm gonna tell you right now, if the Bengals quarterback would have had an extra 5 seconds to be able to throw the ball, that could have easily been a totally different ball game.
Wow.
That could have easily been because he had somebody wide open, and the wide receiver missed the ball like by inches. Like all he needed was just a little extra time to be able to have time to throw the ball effectively in order. So just a small little split second like that can make a big difference. So even though they're looking at things bigger picture.
Right.
Sometimes we just see stuff. We're very detail oriented with what we're looking at as women. Right. And so, and I think that when you're into sports, it really, really helps that. And sports saved my life.
Okay, explain that, because I need to understand the logistics of that. How did sports save your life?
So I lost my dad in November to cancer, but he was a horrible father. Right. So sports kept me out of the house.
Oh. Okay.
Sports kept me away from the house. It allowed me to have time away from the house where I felt safer.
Okay.
So, and I felt like if I didn't have that, I could have easily, I just remember being suicidal 2 or 3 times in my life, especially as a child. Like that's unheard of with Black women, right?
You know what?
You kind of only hear about that with white kids. Because I remember having 1 or 2 of my white friends that killed themselves growing up in middle school and high school. But I never heard about any of my Black classmates killing themselves, right? But I totally remember being suicidal on several occasions because I hated my life.
Wow. So
I hated my home life.
So what? Okay, help us to understand. Like pave this out for us a little bit. Give us, if you don't mind, just share a little bit of what that looked like to you. Because I think what's happening is, I think that, I know we say that we don't see it a lot in our culture. However, I've been hearing stories lately of kids contemplating it, but just don't share it. So what did that look like to you, so that the parents that's on, they can start looking out for some of those clues and being able to provide that type of support for their kids? Should they be asking certain questions? Should they be looking for certain signs? What was it? Pave that out for them if you can.
First of all, you have to have a relationship with your children where they trust you, especially as a mom, right? So if I'm a mom and I have a young daughter, right, first of all, I'm not letting nobody, and they not spending the night at nobody's house. Ain't nobody spending the night at their house.
No.
Them sleepovers and all that stuff. That's, my daughter didn't do none of that. She probably didn't understand that at the time. And I think she might understand it now. But no, she didn't do that. I mean, she was a latchkey child. Like, I didn't even trust sending her to a daycare because I wanted to make sure that I'm able to control the safeness of my child. I felt safer for her going home by herself, even though I might have been a single mom for years, than it was for me to take her to a daycare. And I got some flack from people that was like, well, what kind of mom are you that you? And I was like, listen, you don't even understand. Until you in my shoes and understand where I'm coming from, you really wouldn't understand that because I was in a situation where my mother didn't feel like she could go out on her own with 4 kids. And so she kept us in a situation that was not good. I mean, I was 7 years old and I called the cops on my dad.
Wow.
Because he was beating the crap out of my mom.
Gotcha.
Right? But yet you still continue to stay in a relationship that wasn't safe.
Right.
Right. And it wasn't safe for your girls. So, and so that type of thing. So if I wasn't athletic, and if I was, and I thank God all the time that he blessed me with some type of athleticism, because that was how he kept me.
Yes.
Because at first I was questioning God for a long time. You couldn't. I was mad every time you drive me. I was getting drugged to church because I was like, how is he real? And he didn't let all this happen, right? So that was my thing growing up as far as my faith. So it really took, but then as I got older, you just kind of learn. You're like, oh my God, sports was what you blessed me with, the ability to be athletic, and that is what gave me my safe haven.
Yeah,
right?
that was your refuge.
It gave me an outlet to vent my frustration, where I wasn't able to maybe communicate. I can communicate my frustration on the field, or on the track, or on the court, right?
Yes.
So especially during practice, if practice was just grueling, because I would just push my body to that point to where to be able to release that frustration and the anger that I kind of carried as a child.
Wow. And you know what? It's so funny because it's like you just made a very key point by saying that you didn't understand it as a child, but as you grew up, you realized that was God's way of having that as your refuge. He put you he saved you and put you in an environment that was safe for you. And I get it, what you saying that about not trusting people around your kids, especially. And trust me, I'm not saying that girls are any better than any boys.
I mean, you got to worry about boys these days too. I mean, you got to worry about the boys now too.
Yes, you have to. But my thing is, for me, with my daughter, I didn't let her go and spend the night at other people's house and stuff. No, we're not doing sleepovers. Yeah, we don't do that. But you want to have a sleepover, you got your cousin right there. Your cousin can come over here, or you can go to your godmama house. Those were the only 2 places that she was able to go. But that was it, because I knew that I could trust that place. Her going to her grandparents and going to her godmother. Those 2 were the safe havens. But her spending the night going to friends' houses and no, we didn't do all of that. It wasn't like that. And we have to be cognitive of that today, even more now, because so many things are happening to our kids and in the environments that we think that they're safe in, and they're not necessarily safe in those environments. So we have to ask our kids those questions. We have to have those conversations with our kids so that we know that they understand about the touching, the conversations, the don't tell your mom or I'll hurt her, those conversations, and you want that to be a real conversation so that your child know that they can trust you for them to come to you and have and say something, and that it's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take care of it for you.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. So this is the dynamic that happened that really, that almost broke me, was when I was finally able to give the information to my mom. My mom had me lie to the police to protect his career because he was in the military. And then she still didn't leave. Like, it took for a social worker to come to the house to observe what was going on and threaten to take my mama's kids away before she would take any actions.
Wow.
Right. So now my daughter is, I'll probably never have grandkids because I've raised her to be so independent, overly independent. Right. And so, and then I've helped her to learn from all the mistakes that I made. So because of all of that going up, it was just dysfunctional with me, even in my relationship. So that's what I'm saying. So when I got with this football with my husband, when we got together, I was coaching basketball, and he was like, "Oh, let me tell you how we met." This is so cute. I have to tell the story, right? So my daughter was like a trainer for the football team that he was coaching on. We didn't know each other. And I was working in the school system, and I was getting paid by a grant, but the grant was getting ready to run out. And so I was looking for something else within the system. So this one guy was substituting at the school that I was at, happened to be giving my husband a ride home. Something was going on with he had his car in the shop, so he had asked for him for a ride home. So I was in the bus lane helping the kids get on the bus or get in the car because I was an admin at the school system. And so that's how we got introduced. And so then I had to go pick my daughter up from practice, I think one time. And he observed me. He said, "That's your mom?" And she said, "Yeah, that's my mom." He said, "Huh, okay." And then that same coach was like, "Well, you need to go talk to Coach Bryant about a job. I think he's got a job at his school." I said, "Oh, okay." So I went there and I met with him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, just give me a call tomorrow, and we'll talk about it." So I called him that next day at work, and he was like, "Well, yeah, we do have a position open. I've heard lots of good things about you from Coach Washington, and I'm gonna try to get you here, but I just need you to be patient with me because it's probably gonna take a couple of weeks before I can make it happen." I said, "Okay." So so then he started sending messages to my daughter talking about, "Tell your mom I said hi with a smile."
You don't play through the kids. You don't go through the
kids. Which was good because that meant my daughter already kind of had like a relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that made me feel safe because she didn't come home and say anything crazy for him. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I was in high school, I had a couple of my coaches, grown men, that was trying to holler at me too. That were, yes. And they were married. Right.
Mm.
I've never said that said anything to anybody or anything like that. But I had some coaches that were inappropriate with me when I was in high school. Right. So when she came to me, that's real talk. Yeah. So when she came to me and I asked certain questions about, what, she was like, she didn't say that he was anything creepy or whatever the words the kids use these days. And I was like, okay. So then that gave me an opportunity I was open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then he called one day, and it was a Thursday night. I'll never forget this. And he was like, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm watching football." He was like, "Well, who are you watching?" I don't know who it was. It wasn't the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys is my team. He said, that's a horrible. That's not even gonna be a good game. I said, "I don't care. I just like football. I just like watching football." He was like, "Who are you watching it with?" He was like, I said, "By myself." He was like, "Let me get this straight."
You're a woman, and you're
a woman. You by yourself watching a football game. got him, right? Got him. But that wasn't my intention, right? But that made him pursue me more, right? So then he called and asked, we set up a date. So our first date was on a Friday night after a game. They got blasted on this game. Like, they got towed up. So I texted him and I said, listen, if you want to reschedule, I totally understand. And he said, are you real? Because most women would not have been, they wouldn't have understood. If you're not into sports and not understand, you would not have understood. At that time, you got to think I was already coaching basketball. I was coaching track. I was already a coach. So I understood losses. You take it personal. So I understood. And then they got blasted. It wasn't like they lost. No, they got blasted. It was embarrassing, right?
You sympathize with him. He needed to go home and mourn for that one, huh?
Because it was like against a rival school, and so that it was bad. And so he was like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, and so that was our first date was on the day that they had gotten blasted. And even then he was like, I just can't believe you would. He said most women would not have understood that situation, right? And so those are some of the things that I think that when you're into sports does so many other things. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, working on corporate America or any type of job, I can tell the difference in my supervisors if they've played a sport or if they haven't played a sport, because the mindset is totally different. Like, sports just teaches you just so many life skills that carry you just to a whole nother level if you don't play a sport, right? And I'm not just saying play a sport. I'm talking about if you're involved in any type of a team type activity. I don't care if it's cheerleading, beta club, or something else like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be a sport. But when you're in a team environment at a young age, it just helps. It just helps prepare you for a set of life skills that you don't necessarily have if you don't play a sport. If you just go to school and just get the books and then just come home and you're just a homebody, it's totally different when your mindset and when you're having conversations with those type of people. And I'm saying that there's nothing wrong with them. It's just different.
You can tell the difference is what you're saying. You can tell when you're dealing with somebody that doesn't have those skills, that haven't been in a situation like that versus a person that has, because they do probably look at things differently. So tell us, okay, so with you being in this industry, and I know because we talking about, football, being a football coach is really, when I heard about you being a football coach, I was like,
where they do that at? Because it's not happening too many places. Yeah.
Because it's not a lot of females, women that is in the industry. And not only are you in the industry, but you are dominating the industry in your community. I mean, like, people look up. I read your stuff and your accolades and the things that you're involved with, the Hall of Fame stuff and all of that. Come on, talk to me. Tell us about that. How is it that you got into this field and you're dominating? Did you ever run into any situations where you ran into male coaches that felt intimidated, inferior, and kind of gave you that?
I get it all the. I get it all the time. I get it with our other assistant coaches. Right, like especially our first year. Our first year, we had an assistant coach. He's no longer with us. Great guy, but yeah, he didn't respect me and my knowledge of anything like that. He didn't, And so it was like, and it was frustrating because then the only thing I could do was go to my husband and be like, okay, this is what needs to happen. I remember our first year. We were in the game. I think it was the game right before going into the championship game. We were down 14-6 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And I go to my husband and I say, you need to go talk to your offensive coordinator because he's mismanaging the clock.
Ooh.
And he looked at me like, I said, we need to score 2 touchdowns in order to win this game. And we only got 6 minutes left. So he said, well, no, we only got one score. I said, no, we're trying to win. So we need to score twice in 6 minutes.
Not going to overtime. We want to just
going to overtime. Right. No, we need to
I know a
win.
little bit.
He looked at me. He walked away. He called timeout. Girl, I don't know how it happened. Somehow we got the ball back. We scored. Something happened. We got the ball right back again, scored again, won the game, win the championship game.
Woo!
So now prior to that, I was questioning myself, right? Whether or not I deserved to be there. And he came up to me. He said, "That's why you're here."
See there?
He said, "That's why you're here. That's why, exactly why you're here." But I also handle all the parents. I do most of the admin work when it comes to the communication with the parents. So we have to feed our kids every day. So I'm the liaison between the parents, because I can talk to the parents in a different way than what he don't want to deal with the parents. He just don't want to deal with them. So I deal with the parents, and then so I'm able to talk to the parents like, look, I'm a wife first. So we're not getting ready to have no disrespect in the stands. If you don't like some calls and stuff like that, then you can go take y'all's kids someplace else and they can go coach. You can go coach them someplace else, right? I think one of the biggest things that I say in our parent meeting before is like, look, y'all have already had them 11, 12, 13 years. You done already had your opportunity to coach them up. Okay? So let us do our job here, because you get a lot of, you've been to the game. Parents love to coach from the sidelines.
Yes.
And they think that they know what they know, but they really don't know what they know, because what we're doing might be something different. The perspective on the side of the field is totally different when you're sitting in the stands.
And it's so
the perspective with watching it on TV is totally different from being at the game live.
Yes. So true. So true. Listen, so true.
So those are some of the things that we talk about that, but I haven't had any flack from the parents. But you could tell that there are some, like, I think we had one parent that he was a prior coach. He's a football coach, and he asked to be on the staff, and my husband said no, and and I think that some of them are a little salty about that, and you can tell there's some saltiness about that, and you can even tell, like, at the end of a game when when we're shaking hands, afterwards they're a little elusive when we're shaking hands at the end of a game. Or they find out, they see, I wear my hair out. I make it crystal clear that I'm a female when I'm coaching. I make it crystal clear, right? I got my lipstick on, my makeup is on, I'm crystal clear, so that there's a female on the sideline with them. They can hear me hollering, they can hear me giving instruction on the sideline. I'm not quiet. Matter of fact, my husband told me I needed to be more vocal and I needed to coach more. He's like, I need you to, he said, I do. He said, I do need you to coach up more. I said, okay. I said, because I was reserved at first, because I was hesitant, because I really didn't have the confidence of knowing what, and unsure of if I really did know what I know. Right.
So now you have the confidence. How are you going out there now? You have that confidence. Are you bolder with it now? Are you more where you walk different, meaning that, hey, I know my stuff, so I don't have to be inferior to the next person because I know what I'm doing. I know my job, and I know it very well. So once you know that you know something, your walk is different, and it's not walking in a way that is but your confidence level goes up, and your walk should be different now.
It is. I think it is a little bit different, and especially with being involved with the Hall of Fame, and I also try to help parents with the recruiting process. oh my God, that's a whole nother conversation we could talk about with the whole recruiting process, right? Because especially if I definitely want to be able to talk. So remind me to bring this back up about talking about single moms with their sons. Okay. But my walk is definitely different, and the confidence level is definitely different. A couple years back, 2 years ago, right before COVID, I went to my first coaches clinic. It was the Coach of the Year clinic, and I was the only female there. I guarantee there was probably 500-600 males there and not just from our city. They came from Arkansas, Ohio, Indiana. I mean, they came from out of state to come to this clinic. So the Tennessee head coach was there. Kentucky's head coach was there. At the time, LSU's coach was there. He had just won the national championship. And Texas's coach was there. Most of these coaches done got fired since then. And Indiana's Purdue's coach was there. And I was the only female that was there. So I got a good seat up front. And I'm gonna tell you, I went to the bathroom, I think I went to on a break. We had some breakout sessions, and I came back into the main, and a couple of guys had saved my seat. And I thought that was like the cutest thing ever. That they were like, "Oh, we saved your seat. We made sure nobody took your seat." I was like, "Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that." So there was, and then there were lots of guys that was there that I was able to engage in. They engaged me. Now there was a couple of them that was like, like, what are you doing here? Like, I can tell the tension from them. Like, they was like, what is she doing here? That's all we need for females to start coming up in here and infiltrating our brotherhood. I mean, you could just tell it, right? And so I was like, okay. But there were all other coaches that were there that were equally just excited for me to be there. Like the Tennessee coach came up to me and he was like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm a football coach." Like, duh. Why else am I gonna be here? I'm not the secretary, right? So and he said, "So tell me your story." And I told basically the same thing I told you all, how I got the job as a coach. And then I said, what you need to do is you need to look at my son. And I pulled out video of my son, just like that. And he said, he's got some good feet. He walked away. He came back to me about 20 minutes later. "I'm offering your son a full ride scholarship to the University of Tennessee." And I guarantee I was the only female, the only coach there, period, that probably got an offer for one of their players. Wow. Because I was a female. I felt like because I put myself in that environment to again to stand out. And then even LSU's coach, as soon as he got done, I went up to him. He met me coming off the stage. Everybody else was trying to go up to me. He came to me first. He wouldn't let nobody else talk to him. He came straight to me first and was like, "I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being so attentive while I was talking," because I was just glued to him. Like, I wanted to hear everything he had to say. He's got that accent, so sometimes he might be kind of hard to listen to. But I was able to understand everything he said. And then he was giving away like his whole program of his whole program. He has it on a PowerPoint presentation. And I emailed him, and he sent me his whole program. I have his whole program on a PowerPoint presentation. So if you want to create a whole program, I have the blueprint for LSU that won the national championship. I have the whole blueprint that, I can take whatever we need to and we can create our own program. So I'm no longer, again, my confidence level now is where I'm not arrogant about it, but I know what I know. I'm still humble because there's still a lot that I don't know. But I also, I study it, and it's always a study. You have to know what a cover 1, a cover 2, a cover 3, or a cover 4, the difference between those. And then you got to know whether or not it's a run play or whether or not it's getting ready to be a pass play. You got to know whether or not, there's a difference if you have a left-handed quarterback and a right-handed quarterback. Like, there's a difference in where he might throw the ball. It's so many different dynamics of it that you have to learn I didn't learn because I didn't play the game, right? So a lot of men have that advantage of me because they actually played the game. Just like, I played basketball. So, when I'm, it's March Madness going on right now. So, when I'm watching a game I know what's going on. I understand because I played the game. I played volleyball. I played softball. I bowled. I ran track. So when you participate in those situations, your knowledge is a little bit more extensive than if you don't participate, right?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things. So, but I just keep learning, and I have a good teacher. My husband is like the bomb coach, and I'm telling you right now, it has totally strengthened our relationship. Because during football season, we have so much fun. It's not even funny because we, the stuff the conversations that we're able to have that we normally probably wouldn't have if we weren't coaching together.
Wow. And even if you didn't know the game, because what happens for a lot of women is we run out of things to talk to our spouses about.
Yeah, and if they love sports, they always want to talk about sports.
Right. I'm just going to go through some of these comments because we have the Change After 40 podcast says congratulations. We also have where Truth Be Told podcast is on here, and she said this is awesome. To God be the glory. Get in the room. Get in the room. Yes, get in the room, honey. Yes, it's time to make this thing happen because when you can talk that language that your spouse can communicate with and you can have that conversation, I mean, you guys just open up a whole different avenue because a lot of women, including myself, I don't try to sit down and watch the game. Sorry, maybe that's what I need to be working on. I don't.
And that's probably the majority of women, right?
Yeah. I
mean, most women are not going to watch football. We didn't play football. Like you might watch basketball if you played basketball or volleyball or golf or tennis or now who doesn't want to watch Venus and Serena play?
Yes,
even if you're not into sports. I'm missing watching Tiger Woods participate. So so the only thing you have left is maybe basketball and football because football is the more prevalent, so having those being able to have those conversations with them. And I'm gonna tell you right now, buying gifts is the easiest thing when your husband has a sports because all they want is gear.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can agree with you on that because
all they want is the gear from their team.
Yes. Gear. Okay. And see, for me, he loves football and all of that, but he's really into golfing right now because he's retired. So I just go and buy some golf balls and I'm good to go.
Go buy some golf balls. Hey, go get him a certificate at the golf course and go ahead and pay for him to go get a couple of rounds of golf and call it a day, honey. And he will be excited.
So listen, all right, this is awesome. So listen, tell us what was the turning point for you doing wellness coaching? Because not only are you a football coach that's dominating, but you're also a wellness coach. So bring in the two, which is an awesome thing that you can taught the football and you can teach them how to do the football, but you can also bring the health into it as well. But tell us how you have pivoted into the wellness aspect of it.
My husband is a cancer survivor.
Mighty God.
My husband is a cancer survivor, right? And so because there's so many things that have cancerous ingredients in them, I have to be careful with what comes into my household. So as the woman of the house, as a Proverbs 91 woman, it's my job to maintain my household. Then I'm really particular about what comes in my house and what doesn't come to my house. Right now, I still struggle with what he eats and what he don't eat because he still fights me with that. He's gonna eat what he wants to eat. So I just have to compromise. I just have to control what I can control.
Choose your battles.
Right. And so and then my grandmother had died at an early age. So that was probably what started it. My grandmother died when she was 51. And so when I was 44, I started having some chest pains, and it scared me. And so then I made my own personal journey to make sure that I was in shape. You know, I mean, I was always an athlete, so I was always in great shape anyway. But I noticed that once I got back into shape, again, my confidence level, even how I got along with my husband got better. Like our arguments changed. Our arguments changed when I started feeling better about myself.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
We don't, like, we hardly ever argue now. Whereas before, you couldn't have told me that it was my fault.
Oh, of course not. No.
It was his fault. But no, it was my fault because I was feeling insecure with who I was. And I wasn't happy with what I looked like when I looked in the mirror, or how I was feeling. And then once I fixed that, it fixed all the arguments.
Wow.
All the petty arguments that he was complaining about, like with the small little stuff, all that stuff. It all went away. Like, we don't hardly, like, what do we argue about? We argue about what we gonna eat tonight. Because he'd be like, can you just make a decision? And I'd be like, I don't know what I want. You know, so that's what we argue about now.
But that's you guys actually found some common ground, and you guys have a way that you guys can communicate with each other. Even if it's in the football language, you're able to have that line of communication in your relationship where y'all can communicate and not have those different arguments. You were able to kind of deplete some of the things that could come up because you're talking his language.
Because I'm talking his language. Absolutely.
I love it.
And so, and then we have, oh my God, we have so many different dynamics. You probably bring me, so we're a blended family. So we had a lot of, that's a dynamic in itself, right?
Yeah.
Dealing with baby mamas and baby daddies, and, her disrespecting my husband, oh Lord, child. So we had a lot of arguments with that, because I'm like, why would I want her disrespecting you? And he was like, no, just so he if you sit here and talk about him, and this is probably something we need to talk about on another time too, is that men can't react the way they want to react, because they're always going to be the bad person. Right? So if a woman is disrespecting a male and he reacts, he's the big bad mom, but she might be dead wrong.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen
but
that.
But then if he doesn't react, he looks like he's soft.
Yes.
So he's darned if he do, darned if he don't.
Darned if he don't. Yeah.
As a man, right? And so let me tell you what. So football helps you to be able to navigate through that dynamic as a grown Black male, because football puts you through a lot of that adversity, so that when you're put in situations like that as a grown man, you're able to handle things a little bit better. So a lot of males that don't play football, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you find a male that was a that put his hands on a woman, find out whether or not he played a sport. Find out whether or not he played football. Because I would bet that he did.
Explain.
Right? Because football allows you to be able to put your hands on people and stuff legally.
Oh, so you can take it out on the field, and you don't have to worry about you taking it out off the
right.
field.
So when you learn that at a young age, right? And you don't learn that at a young age, now you don't know how to hold that in.
Yes.
Whereas in football, you have to be disciplined to not get a penalty. There's something you can't do. You can put your hands on it, but there's a certain way that you can put your hands on, or you'll get a penalty. So you have to learn discipline when it comes to even your physical force against somebody else.
That makes sense. Okay. I see where you're going with this.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
You see that?
You know, I be needing to know. I be needing to know. Okay.
And and I'm not a psychologist. My minor was in psychology, but I don't have a psychology degree. But I would love for someone to do some type of research on that.
Okay.
To see, just how close knit that is. Because again, I think that you have to be so disciplined. I'm gonna go back to my Cowboys. We would have won if our penalties and stuff wasn't so high.
Ooh.
We led the whole NFL in penalties.
Listen, you said that with some anger and frustration. So what okay, so my next question to you is what's next for you? But I'm gonna just put out another little dime for you because the Cowboys have been like lingering behind. So would you consider taking it to the next level to really be a coach and professional? Would you take it to college level? Would you take it to, come on, what we doing next? What's next for you?
Let me tell you something. When my first year, I put it on, when I put a post on LinkedIn, and we had just lost our first championship, and Coach Lori Locust reached out to me. She is the assistant defensive lines coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And she hit me in my inbox and she said, let me know how far you want to go with this. And then on Instagram, I got hit up by an intern from Sam Rappaport's office. Sam Rappaport, she is like the head, liaison as far as like helping women to get into the NFL. Ooh. And so the girl was like, well, she told me specifically to get on social media to find every female football coach that I can find. And I found you. And I said, okay, cool. Right. And so she was like, well, how far do you want to go with this? So my son is, he reclassified. So he has one more semester. So he'll start football next spring. So 2023, he'll start at University of Kentucky. At that time, my husband and I will probably reassess where we wanted to go. Now he had an opportunity to go go back to high school. And I'm gonna try not to cry. And he told them, if I can't bring my wife, I can't come.
Wow. Because he has that much trust in you. He trusts you that much that the game won't be the same if he don't have that backbone.
Yeah, he said I don't want it if I can't. If I can't bring my wife, I don't want it, because it was a freshman. He would be like the head freshman at high school. And so he was like, if I can't bring my wife, he said, well, just take my name out of it, because if I can't bring my wife, I can't do it. And I was like, wow, because I know he's been coaching like 28 years, so it's in his blood. Like if you was to meet him, he wants you to call him coach, because that's his identity. His identity is Coach Bryant. Everybody calls him coach. They don't call him by his first name. He don't even like being called by his first name. He likes being called coach, because that's who he is. And so I've been pushing him to apply for colleges. And when we first started dating, he had an opportunity to take a college job, and he turned it down because he didn't want to be away from his son. Wow. And I totally respected that. But our life financially would be totally different than what it is right now.
Honey, taking the job.
Totally different than what it would be right now, right?
I will coach with you from the sideline. I promise you. I'll call you and tell you.
I'm good. Hey, I'm good. Yes, absolutely. Right. I'll help you cut some film on the weekends and stuff. I'm good. I don't have to be on the sideline with you, right? So we're definitely we're gonna reassess that probably this time next year. We'll be looking at where we're gonna go what's going to be next for us, if we're going to go to the high school level, if we're going to stay, because and then being caught up. I work on a plantation, so I have one of them jobs that's not really flexible, right? So I'm gonna have to figure it out to be able to, just to have the flexibility to be able to go to more things. So like the coaches clinic, like I haven't gone to any coaches clinic because of COVID. They really haven't had them because of COVID. Right? But hopefully the coaches clinics and stuff will open back up. And there are some things, like they have like a women's forum with the NFL. And I'm going to try my best to find out when's the next one so that I can be a part of that, because women are getting they're getting hired from those events. And so of course I got to make sure that I have my T's crossed and I's dotted, and make sure that I know what I know. Like I haven't chosen like which area that I want to specialize in, because they want you to be a specialty. Like I don't know if I want to be a wide receivers coach or a running back coach or co-offensive coordinator, or I don't know where I want to do. I might want to be a DB coach. I don't know where. So I need to choose my niche within football so that I can hone those skills specifically, so that I can get a coaching job in that particular area. Because I can't just be a general, I'm just a football coach and just applying. I got to know what I know, and get the experience. I think that once we get these championship games on our belt, because they coming, it'll definitely open up some it'll definitely open up some areas. Of course, I love the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is going to open up some areas because I get to meet like we have like Damani Dawson coming. He's a Hall of Famer that played for the Steelers. Everybody that's a Steeler fan knows who Damani Dawson is. He's in the regular football Hall of Fame. He's one of the best centers I have ever, and he's good friends with my husband, right? So it's not like we don't have the connections to get to the next level. We do. Mm-hmm. I'll probably start with, because my son will be at Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I'll probably be very involved with going to practices and stuff and learning at Kentucky, because it's right here in our back door, and Kentucky's program is doing really, really well. They're really upcoming. And so that might be an opportunity even for my husband, since my husband is a alumni. He played at Kentucky and he's got the experience. So we're looking at that, and I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't know, but we still have like a year. We still have a year before we're like, okay, now we're empty nesters. Now we can do what we want to do. What is that going to look like? And I can't wait to start having those conversations to see what God has in store, because there's no telling what can happen between now and then.
Amen. So Terri, we have literally, we have been here for an hour.
Unbelievable.
We really touched the surface of all the stuff that we wanted to cover. So we're going to have to invite you back. Definitely, so that we can go in a little bit more deeper and peel back some other layers and see what we have that's coming forth. But I thank you for joining the Real Talk Show tonight. Can you do me a favor and wait a minute. I do have another comment. We got good conversation. We have Sharon that put in, I can relate to either just your husband called by his last name or coach. Oh, that's right. Sharon, you actually are absolutely correct. Sharon's husband is deceased, and her husband went by the name of Coach Skinner. Yes. Love your success story as a female football coach. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So listen, tell the people how they can get in contact with you. Look, we might have a coach on here that need to contact you. Tell the people how they can get in contact with you.
I'm on everything. Yeah, Coach Terri Bryant. There's my email. My business page says Coach Terri Bryant. My Facebook says Coach. No, it doesn't say Coach. It says Terri Mims, Mims Bryant. 'Bryant. 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 'Bryant.
All right. So you guys, if y'all need to get in contact with Miss Terri, y'all know how to get in contact with her. Definitely follow her on social media. She's doing some awesome, great things. And thank you for saying yes to coming to the show tonight.
Thank you for asking me.
You are an amazing woman. I love the fact that you are trailblazing in your community. And I love, which we didn't even get to go into this part of it. You know, you only touched the surface of. So I got to bring you back where you can talk about getting in the recruiting aspect for.
Yes, absolutely.
I definitely want to bring you back so that we can really hone in on that because that's so important. I know so many people who are football parents, single moms that's really trying to put their sons on the map and they don't have a clue of where to start. So I definitely want to connect back with you, bring you back to the show so that you can share your expertise because listen, you not only did that for your son, but I'm sure you've done that for some other youth as well. That's been
absolutely
a program. So definitely, I want you to come back to the show so that we can hone in on that. And y'all, we gotta go. Thank you, Terri, for joining the show tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Connect with us with Plans of the Righteous. Make sure if you enjoyed the show, do us a favor. Like the show. We need that check mark and we need you to subscribe to the show and we need you to share the show because Real Talk meets here every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just want to continue to bring you guys value and show you that we have some amazing people out here doing some amazing things. And Terri, you made history, honey. You made history. We are in Women's History Month, and you are a trailblazer really making the history. You guys, we got to go. Connect with us on Plans of the Righteous. Connect with us at www.plansoftheRighteous.com. Also, you want to check out our page on our academy, academy.plansoftheRighteous.com. We're getting ready to launch off the Plans of the Righteous flagship program, which is Prepared to Succeed. We're going to kick off part 1, and we're also launching off our membership program. So stay tuned. We love you guys. We got to go. Terri, tell the people bye-bye. We got to go. Bye, y'all.
Love y'all. Thank you.
Love y'all. We got to go. Deuces.